My name is Betty Kiptum. Now, Kenya is staring at a major energy crisis unless power generation is accelerated. The Ministry of Energy says the moratorium on new power purchase agreements and budget cuts have affected the sector at a time when demand is growing. Energy Principal Secretary Alex Wachira has told the National Assembly Committee on Energy that the country may be forced to resort to expensive thermal power if the situation is not addressed urgently.
Kenya is increasingly becoming reliant on electricity imports from Ethiopia and Uganda to stabilize its power supply. High transmission and distribution losses, estimated at 23% in 2023, have further strained the system.
But the country now is in dire need of urgent power.
Appearing before the National Assembly Committee on Energy, Energy Principal Secretary Alex Wachira notes that the country is on the brink of tapping into the emergency thermal generators, a situation that was witnessed back in 1997, if the sector does not increase the generation of power.
Every day, when we could not be able to pick 200 megawatts, every day we had load shedding in this country because we do not have adequate power within the country. When we reinstated the Ethiopia line, last week and this week, we have load shed from 80 to 170 megawatts daily. Why? Because we do not, during the rainy season, we do not have wind, neither do we have solar in the evening.
The ministry says that there is a dire need for a nuclear power plant to be set up in the country, noting that the sources of power like wind and geothermal are not sufficient to meet the ever-growing demand of the vital commodity.
And so therefore, for us now to power this country, the next 2 or 3 years before we bring on board more geothermal, Honorable Chair, the unfortunate truth is that we have to resort to more thermal generators because they are the only ones that can be put in place within a very short period of time.
Last year, the Ministry of Energy announced that power connections to homes increased by over 774,000 consumers from 8,919,584 homes in 2022 to 9,693,954 in 2024 homes, while power generation increased by over 240 megawatts from 3,076 megawatts in 2022 to 3,243 megawatts in 2024, representing a 5.4% increase. Energy Cabinet Secretary Opiyo Wandayi says that the funds allocated are not sufficient, especially with the government currently investing heavily in rural electrification projects.
The allocated budget estimates for expenditure for the energy subsector in the financial year in question is Kenya shilling 61.5 billion. Of course, consisting of 11.9 for recurrent and 49.6 for development.
Kenya aims to build its first nuclear power plant and launch it by the year 2032 as the country prepares to host a US-Africa summit on nuclear energy. Abdiaziz Hashim for Prime Edition.